Hello, Internet, and welcome to Say Report Jr., the podcast you should be listening to, subscribe to, and downloading every week. I am one of your co-hosts, Zack.
And I'm your other co-host, Dayle Decker. You,
That's all my energy for the
that
week.
I mean,
Goodbye, everybody. I'm out. I'm done.
it's you,
Tired.
you, you sounded like you tried to have the same energy that I had for our 50th episode. You were
I'm
like,
never gonna match that up. I
"Good,
can't.
good evening." I
Yep.
almost, I almost did the Good Morning Vietnam thing, but I've never seen that movie,
I
so I
the
don't.
only literally the only thing I know about that movie is
Good. Me too.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Me too. Okay, so I could have done it, and it would have been fine. That's
Oh
good to
man.
know.
It's one of my friends' favorite movies. One of my friends from college, he was like he loved that movie. There were days when he would just put it on, and yet I still never bothered to sit down and
Don't
watch it
watch it.
with him. Yeah.
I feel like there are certain movies where I haven't seen them for so long that it feels weird to be like, yeah, I should watch it now, or I should keep the streak going, like Beetlejuice.
There are also I want to put more effort into seeing some more Robin Williams movies in my time
Mm.
because I've heard nothing but great things about The World According to Garp from
Yes.
1982.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I
one.
hear it's fantastic, and I
Yep.
still have not sat down to watch it yet.
Yep.
What
Or
is this
even
show? What
Mrs.
is this?
Doubtfire. I've never seen Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I was about to segue away from this, but hold on.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the best scene in Mrs. Doubtfire is? Because it's none of the ones you're thinking of.
Okay.
The best scene of Mrs. Doubtfire is the opening when he is standing in a recording studio recording both voices for a cartoon.
Beautiful.
That's the best scene in the whole movie. You don't have to watch the rest of that movie at all.
Okay.
Well,
Good to know.
that and Matilda's in it. Mara Wilson's in it. I guess
Oh,
she's
really?
cool. Yeah, she's the
Huh.
little. It was like right before Matilda, so that was like one of her first roles was
Yeah.
as his daughter in that. Um,
All right. All
but
right.
anyway,
What's your
anywho, what
segue
is
gonna
this?
be?
It was going to be what is this show we do? What are we doing? What's going on?
Oh, are we explaining what the
Oh
Say Report Jr. is?
no, I was just like I can't I don't know how we so quickly just fell into let's talk about Robin Williams. I don't know how that happened. I would have a
uh,
lot of energy. I'm back. I'm working again. It was so funny. I was stream testing with Devin earlier today.
yep.
Which spoiler alert, everybody, watch the Say Report Twitch channel for around Friday sometime.
Something is coming.
Something might be coming. But I was testing some things with Devin earlier, and I had no energy while we were doing it. Nothing
Yeah.
whatsoever. We were like halfway through a game of something, and I couldn't talk anymore. But I also said to him, I just had to work for 2 days in a row for the first time in like 3 months, and like
Yeah.
my body just couldn't handle it apparently because
Yeah.
I woke up at 10 o'clock. So
No, I mean I get it. It's also the game that you were playing. Did you mention what game you were playing? I don't know
no,
if
I
we
wasn't
should.
sure if we were supposed to spoil it
No,
or
we
not.
should save it. The game that you
Okay.
were playing is definitely one of those games where, um, boring with one person, kind of okay with two people. You really need to have four people
Yeah,
play it.
the only reason it can be
Um,
fun with two people is if the computer players that replace the other people are just obnoxious.
yes, yeah, but
By the way,
it's
if anybody listens to our show and Say Report, they know what we're talking about because
oh
they talked about it on the Say Report. But I like this idea that we're not going to say it just to see who understands it and who's not. We're
well,
going to get
yeah.
super esoteric between us and the Say Report now.
Well, I don't want to
Uh,
be the ones who spoil it for everybody for Friday, so I'm not. I'm
yeah, I
not
can't
putting us
remember
in
if they
that
said anything
situation.
on the. I'm still listening to the episode, so I don't even know if they talk about it at the end.
Awesome. But yes, we are not going to mention. Just stay tuned for Friday.
We'll give you the channels and stuff again at the end of
Yes.
the episode.
Yes. Oh
But
man,
otherwise, how have you been?
I've been
I've been
good.
working.
You've
I've
been
been doing
working.
very little. So how have you been?
I've been good. I've been working as well. I wait. Is that this week? Yes, because I told you when we went for drinks on Saturday night. Um, I
This
I
is we've discovered the first problem with now that we're in the same place and we can see each other in real life is we forget when we've talked about things on an
yes.
episode or not.
It's okay though because I like resharing stuff because I feel like you always learn something more. It's like rewatching a movie. Um, but I learned that I've been bowling wrong my whole life.
Ah, yes. Yes, I still don't understand the physics of this, but that's why I'm an English student.
Yeah,
Because,
no, it's
like,
it's fine. Apparently, I didn't understand the physics either. So, quick story before I get into the three movies that I saw over the last week. Um, I have mentioned before on the show that I have a weird arm, as I affectionately call it, in that I broke my arm when I was 5 in BJ's wholesale store. From running and sliding because I was an impressionable child and Devin was running and sliding, and when he had the forethought to stop, I did not.
I like
And
the subtle way of blaming Devin for all of this. This is all Devin's fault.
no,
He was just too cool. That's the problem.
he was too cool, and he was my older brother. And I was like, yeah, I could do that too if he could do it. And no, I couldn't because I fell and broke my wrist. And it didn't heal correctly, I don't think, or they didn't set it correctly. I don't really know what happened. I think it didn't heal correctly. So when
Doctor looked at it and went, "Eh, she's a kid. She'll grow back into that
yeah,
bone."
yeah,
She'll
exactly.
grow-
I had a cool purple and pink cask though. Yeah. Um so it healed weird so that now my hand is kind of like cockeyed if I put it out flat. So when I bowl, like, and when I say my whole life, I really discovered this in college because me and a couple of friends, usually on Thursday nights, would go bowling in our last year of college because it was something fun to do. There was a a bowling alley not too far from the college, so we would go have fun, have some drinks, and have a good time. And I realized as I was bowling that when I bowled, because I bowl with my right hand, which is the arm that I broke. It's weird. This is a really quick segue. I play sports with mostly with my right arm, except for hockey, where I am a lefty, and I don't know why.
Do you also golf facing
I
the
think
other direction
so.
for left-handed?
I
Because
think
that's the only other comparable sport I could think of where you're
I
holding like a
I think I
club
would.
or a
Yeah,
stick or anything. Yeah.
yeah. I think I bowl lefty or golf lefty as well. It probably feels more comfortable to golf lefty. But yeah, at most every other sport, I am a righty. Um, so I bowled my right arm, and there were times, obviously, like my hand gets tired easily, because my wrist is not how it's supposed to be technically. So I thought it was just my wrist getting tired or whatnot, but through the game, my frames would get worse and worse as the game progressed, and it's partially because my arm was getting tired, so I had to switch to a lighter ball. But it was also because where I was standing, my wrist would be putting a permanent curve and a permanent spin on the ball. So I wasn't standing in the right way. And then I realized that if I stood to the right of the lane, it would curve the way that I wanted it to. So I started bowling like that and was fair, getting a couple strikes here and there. Again, I'm just having fun, so I'm not really paying attention to it.
And this is also like the problem with bowling. Like I have been bowling once in the last like few years. It's not something you do often enough that you would notice if
Yes,
you could like
exactly.
improve upon that.
Exactly.
Like
And like when I say we were going bowling, it wasn't every week. It was like once or twice a month. It was frequent enough to say, yeah, I bowled in college, but it wasn't, a routine. So, and also, I was with my friends and we were just goofing her off anyway, so I wasn't focused on it. Now that I am in a league and I am bowling every single week for 3 hours almost, it's, I am focusing on my thing. The league is just for fun. It's not, no cash prizes or anything like that. I think I get a ball at the end of it, so that's really exciting. But it's just for fun. But my boss is on my team, and he bowls in, like, true leagues. Like, he bowls every single week. He has a true league. So he, like, knows how to kind of coach in bowling. So I've been noticing how I bowl more. And I'm like, okay, standing on the right side of the lane is not working. And one of my teammates was like, just bowl on the left, see what happens. And I did, and I proceeded to bowl the best night of my life ever.
That kind of makes me wonder what type of bowler your boss is in his other leagues.
Well, so
You're like, he
so
bowls in other leagues, but apparently he's been teaching me wrong the whole
yeah,
time.
well, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because I basically told him, "Hey, I've tried it. I can't do it. This is how I need to bowl." And I think that's what he was going off of.
Right.
So he didn't have the other information to go against it.
He's not,
So,
he's not a
and
sociopath. He's not calculating the
exactly,
physics of your bowling
exactly,
strikes.
exactly. But he also, there were a lot of times where I would do something and then he'd be like, try moving this way, and then I would get a strike. So he is a good teacher. I just wasn't giving him the like, I was basically just telling him, this is how I need to bowl, work with this. I wasn't saying, yeah, whatever, you know? I basically never gave him the option of me going left. And he is on vacation, and I cannot wait for, not tomorrow, but next week when I bowl, and do not tell him why I'm on the left, and just see him like shit his
Oh
pants.
man, love the idea of you gaslighting your boss over a bowling game. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I was like joking around. I'm like, this is insane. I don't think I've ever bowled. I bowled a 102, then a 155, and then a 140, which I like never before. I've only ever gotten into like the 120s, maybe.
that's still pretty good. I mean, the problem with bowling, it's always so weird, like when bowling scores vary, because the problem is that the spares and the strikes add on to previous
Yes.
scores.
Yeah.
So you can do so if you get 9 pins every frame and never get a strike or a spare, you've got a 90,
Yes.
which is still feels like it would be a consistently pretty good score.
Yeah.
But if you never get the strike or the spare to get those additional points, it looks like you did worse.
Yeah.
So someone who gets a 90 and someone who gets a 120 can probably be, are actually probably not
Similar.
far off from each
Yeah.
other.
No.
It's just whether
The
or not you
whole
get those add-ons.
the
So
whole scoring side of bowling really
yeah,
doesn't make sense to
I
me.
know
It's
it's the
really
best.
difficult for
It's
me to
so crazy.
understand.
I love it.
Oh god. It's so, and every week I'm like, okay, so what just happened? Okay. So what just happened there? Like I got a spare but it didn't. Oh, nope. I'm lost. I'm just going to keep bowling. Like I can't. I
It's
know what a
it's
handicap is
bowling.
now. I know what a handicap in bowling is now. It's basically just pins added to your pins. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's easy.
Yeah, it's like it's the grading curve of bowling.
Yeah, it really
Um,
is.
I love it because it's like bowling on its own. Not you don't need to be the most physically fit athlete to bowl,
No, no.
which is why partially why it's great. But also, it feels like when someone was figuring out that scoring system, they were like, okay, they're gonna laugh at us that we're not really like exerting ourselves to play bowling. So what if we made them put
Mental.
exponential math into their into their scoring? So now it's like the nerdiest sport for people who can't.
We're gonna
Like,
be mental
we're gonna.
athletes.
This is yeah. I know it looks like we're just swinging a big old ball at some pins, but guess what?
I
You
mean,
gotta be like half nerd to play this game, my
it
dude.
it
Then we
takes.
created systems that do the scoring for us, and nobody has to know how to do it
Yeah.
anymore. So like immediately took that
Yeah.
right out of the equation.
It's crazy though. It really does take a lot of skill. Like professional bowlers, like they get all my credit. They get a lot of credit from me because it's hard work.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard
no.
work.
I mean that's the thing. I can sit here and laugh at it. I'm also not a good bowler. Oh, let's be, let's be very clear. I'm
I
also not
can't
a great
wait
bowler.
until we go
We
bowling.
should just go hit up EP lanes at some
Oh
point. The fact that we
god.
haven't yet. Let's
Oh,
go see a movie at the $2 theater
I'm down.
and then go over to EP lanes.
I'm down.
It'll be just like a high school thing. It'll be just like when I was in high school, and that's what we would do because we were bored and nowhere else to go.
I'm so down. Let's do it.
God, I definitely just named my senior year. Anyway, uh,
Brilliant. Oh man. So yeah, so that's what that was like crazy to me. That was a really big thing is that I can bowl on the left and not have my I 100% was like bowling based on my arm and I didn't need to. It's like this weird like oh this thing that I thought was holding me back for all these years actually isn't.
No, you just
And
gotta
it's
shift a little bit and
my
you're good.
arm and bowling. Weird shit. But the other stuff, the other cool things I got to do. So I saw 3 movies in the past week. I saw Missing Link, Hellboy, and Beach Bum.
Okay, see, I was wondering what that third movie was gonna be.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about all three of those, especially because I know Beach Bum as a poster, so we're gonna
Yep.
talk about that. So, I did not do much this week,
Mm.
so let me run down that list real quick,
Okay.
and then we're gonna
Cool.
get deep in those
Awesome.
movies.
Good. I cannot wait.
So, the
Oh god.
only other good show to come out from CBS All Access. Sorry if anybody's a fan of the Good Wife spinoff that's on there, but the only the only good the only other good
The
show to
Good
come up
Fight.
on CBS, yes, The Good Fight.
Oh god.
But Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone premiered
Is it
on
good?
April 1st. Yes, the comedian. I've watched 3 episodes. I've not watched the fourth one yet.
Mm.
Um, all three of them are very good. One of them is just not as good as the other two, which is sad because it's um, the remake that they did of
Gremlin.
Nightmare at 30,000 Feet
Yeah.
is still very good. But of the three of them, it is the one that is very much what if, let's make a Twilight Zone episode as
Mhm.
opposed to let's tell a story with like a social fable added to it, like the way that they actually wrote Twilight Zone episodes,
Yeah.
all of that. We'll get into it. But I have been happy with it. And what makes me the happiest of it is that it is considered the fifth season of the Twilight Zone.
Oh.
It
Okay.
is still
Hmm.
credited as created by Rod Serling. CBS is the one that had the rights to it, so
Mhm.
like it is all still tech. Like this isn't like when Twilight Zone was remade with Forrest Whitaker in the
Yeah.
2000s. This is very much the fifth season of the Twilight Zone,
Oh,
which
that's
I
cool.
really like.
That's cool.
Um, and then I think the first episode's available on YouTube. It's called The Comedian. It's with Kumail
I've
Nanjiani.
yeah, I've been meaning to watch it.
It's it's great.
Yeah.
I really like it. But the thing with Nightmare at 30,000 Feet again.
That's one of my favorite cuz that's the little gremlin on the
Yes, that is the
wing,
Gremlin
right?
on the Wing, which was originally William Shatner, and then
I
when
love
they did
it.
the movie, it was John Lithgow.
Okay.
Two
Yeah.
people who are great over actors.
Yeah.
For this episode, it's Adam Scott, who can do like
Yes.
neurotic very well.
Mhm.
But the other thing they did, and this is where my weird text to you comes in, is that the Gremlin is a podcast now. So what they did in the episode is instead of him seeing a gremlin on the wing, he sits in the
Ugh.
seat and there is an iPod stuck to the inside, like the thing in front of him, and he starts listening to it, and it's a like true crime podcast episode that is about the flight he is on. So it's like, so he keeps hearing things that are about to happen on the flight, and he's like running around the plane trying to tell everybody that something terrible is going to happen, and nobody believes him, and he's like increasingly getting worse and worse, trying to like convince everybody that something bad is about to happen on the plane. So the Gremlin is a podcast. It is.
Ugh.
It's
That
not. It's not as bad. It does not sound as good as the Gremlin on the Wing. I will admit. It plays off better,
yeah.
like when you actually watch it because Adam
Okay.
Scott's acting is so good. But the other thing is that the episode is written by Glenn Morgan, who wrote some of the best episodes of the X Files, and it
Okay.
definitely feels like an X Files episode versus a Twilight Zone episode. Like
Okay.
that's how I'll put it. This is the guy that wrote in season 11 the reboot season that came out, or like the 20 years later season that came out. He wrote the best episode of that season with the Lizard Man, who turns into who also starring Camille Nanjiani actually. But it was actually about a lizard man who turns into a man during the day and not the other way around.
Oh wow.
Uh, and in the original series, he wrote some of the best episodes of like the best like funny episodes of the X Files is what he would write. So that it ends up having that feeling to it, which is why
Mhm.
it's not as good as the other two. But I think still like a pretty decent hour of television. Um,
Yeah.
so I watched that, and so like if anytime so if they're starting to work on the stuff that's going to make like CBS All Access better, like a better deal,
Mm.
but I would still wait to see like the new Picard show they're working on and stuff like that before if like you're still on the fence about it.
Yeah, I
Um,
know that we have been.
yeah,
So
but I would like I would I would do is I would watch the comedian on YouTube since it's a free episode. Might as well watch that because like the third episode replay is like right up on that same level.
yeah,
So uh, let's see what else did I do this week. Oh, I started watching Abby's
yeah,
on NBC, which
yeah.
is like millennial Cheers.
It
So
really is. It's a delight. It's delightful. It's cute. I like it.
yeah, I think it's got bones to like grow
Yeah.
from where it is. I hope it really gets its shot. It was that like mid-season.
Mm.
I didn't realize NBC still did sweeps, but they're definitely still doing sweeps because
Yeah.
this is that same first season slot that Parks and Rec got.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of hoping it gets that benefit of the doubt and gets like
Yeah.
a second season and is allowed to like
I don't.
grow where it is.
I don't see it lasting long though. I
Probably.
really don't. And it like. But here's the thing about shows like new shows. I don't ever see any of them lasting long. Because it's not. TV is so different than what it was when, like, Cheers came out. Or when, throw out another, like, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Well, I mean,
Because for some reason that was on my brain.
kind of, and I say this, I mean, I don't know if I've ever talked about how much I love Scrubs on this show, but as a huge fan of
Yes,
Scrubs,
yeah.
kind of everything, Scrubs was the one that really sold the idea of the one camera sitcom
Yeah.
to people, like the no live studio audience, one camera,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sets, a lot of moving around, and so like as shows like that, and then of course The Office
Yeah.
being adapted for the U.S. and Parks and Rec and all of these shows now that like you don't generally get a studio audience, one set, a couple of cameras thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird though because we do also still have Big Bang Theory in its
Yeah, but
last season right now.
Yeah. I think that's the longest running, like, modern sitcom. I mean, we have longer running shows like Blue Bloods has been running for super long, but like as far as sitcoms,
Right.
like Big Bang Theory is the longest running modern day one. If I can't think of another one.
Is Modern Family still going?
Oh, it is. Yes. Okay. So Modern
But
Family.
Modern Family is in the same vein as like Parks and Rec and stuff like that.
Yes.
Big Bang Theory is definitely the last like big one that was like the standard old school sitcom setup.
Yeah.
And what's
Like-
strange is that Abby seems to be trying to work off of a nostalgia for that, but it hasn't gone away yet.
Yeah. It's
Like
it really like I love the whole thing about Abby's is that it's filmed in a live outdoor audience. That's really cool to me. But it also like just like talking about it now, it brings up memories of Undateable. I don't know if you watched Undateable.
no, but I actually talked to Devin about this over the weekend because we
Okay.
were talking about Abby's and stuff, and he brought up Undateable as
Yeah.
well.
So he and I have not talked about it. So that's super funny because usually we
See,
bring it
there's
up
another
because we
problem.
have a conversation with each other about it.
This is
But-
a problem, also a problem with being able to hang out with you and Devin separately. Now all of our conversations are coming,
They're just all of the same
they're
thing.
draining around into each other. Anyway,
No, so the like it thinking about it now as we were recording, it does bring up these memories of Undateable because Undateable was always filmed in front of an audience, blah 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 blah, and it was it did feel like a Cheers-esque show, but except instead of sitting at the bar, they were sitting at a table. But it still had that Cheers feeling, at least to me. And when Undateable came out, I wasn't like as into Cheers as I have currently become into Cheers, but it really did have that, okay, everybody here knows each other, like this is where everybody feels at home, blah 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 blah. And then Undateable went live. And it worked for a little while, and then it fizzled out. And it's like, you guys could have lasted. I have no doubt in my mind that Undateable could have lasted if they didn't go live, which is really sad. Because going live was such a cool experiment that I wish worked.
Well, it's funny you should say that because it's an experiment that was already tried.
Mm.
The Drew Carey show
Yes.
back in its toward its later years, while when Drew Carey show and Whose Line Is It Anyway were
Mm-hmm.
like lined up with each other, and this like weird height of weird sitcoms for I think it was ABC that was airing them.
Yeah.
Um, they did that. They did a couple of episodes. I think two, like one per season, but they were like I think they only did it two, maybe three times, where they did a live broadcast of just an
Mm.
episode. And so it's weird, and they were okay. Like they were best known as like these were it was a weird experiment. This is also around the time that Third Rock from the Sun was like we're gonna do special episodes in
Mm-hmm.
3D, and they did like a 3D. They like did this whole thing where they got people to get 3D glasses for their house, and they aired an episode in 3D, and it was weird. God, I missed TV in the early 2000s, but it's just strange to me that like I cannot imagine that the Drew Carey Show live episodes were like so beloved that someone would
Mm.
look at that and go, "Let's do a whole season of that." Like,
And I know, like, oh, I don't remember what show it was. I don't remember, but it was like more recently, and they did like it was a big deal that they were doing a live episode, and like episodes here and there make sense to do them live because it's like we're gonna do it. Why not? We can, and it just I really wish it worked out for Undateable, but it I don't know. It's so I wish they had could get a better grasp on it because I think live anything is way more fun to watch
it's
in
interesting because
certain
it's like
situations.
right. And the thing is, first off, you're talking about there being two broadcasts of the episode because they had to do an East Coast and a West Coast.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yes.
then you also have to kind of create a situation where either, I mean, you're talking about basically turning a sitcom into a play at that point, which is you need to something that
Get your
happens on
shit
sit
together.
right, something that happens on sitcoms, and I cannot believe I know this because I watched. I'm gonna admit this now. Seen some behind the scenes stuff with Friends before
Mm.
because when those scares came out on DVD, we were like so hyped on Friends and also upped on the idea of DVD extras that we would watch the behind the scenes stuff. But they do things where like they might write a joke and play the joke and then the joke doesn't work and so they turn around for 10 minutes and write a different joke and reshoot the scene
Yeah.
and you can't do that with a live episode of a show.
Yeah.
So like if the
Yeah.
thing you write, even if it's delivered perfectly and the one take, if the thing you write does not get a laugh,
Yeah.
no going back.
Yeah.
So
But I feel yeah, and I mean to go back to the Abby's thing, it's I don't know. I don't know why they feel really similar. It's because they're both about bars and they're both about people being at home at the bar. But if Undateable didn't last, I really don't think that.
it's hard to say. They need to what Abby's needs to do right now is work on its characterization of everybody. Like right now
Yes.
they are relying on you don't
Yeah.
know these characters, so you're just relying on the stuff coming out of their mouths,
Hmm.
which is pretty okay. And like it's definitely got the bones for something stronger, but until they start adding to the characterization, it's like
Yeah.
it's pretty much like what it is right now.
Yeah, it really is because there are certain situations where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about you. You're kind of just a person.
Right.
And man, my favorite character on it is the bouncer. I don't remember his name, but he's the bouncer. He wanted to wear open-toed shoes.
Yes.
I don't remember his
And that's
name.
another thing. See, that's another problem is that you're right. I don't remember everybody's name
Yeah.
yet either.
Like I know Abby.
I watched three
Bill.
episodes of that show in a row, and guess what? I did not remember everybody's name.
I think so.
I remember
I know
the
Abby, Bill, and Frank and Rosa.
I remember Free Alcohol
Rose?
Day Danny, and I don't
Yes.
even recognize. And that she's in one episode.
Yep, and
Uh,
Skip
and Skip,
and
who
Dayle.
is not in
There
the
was a
third
guy
episode.
named Dayle, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember Dayle.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know.
but
It's such a I like the show, but it's such a weird show right now.
right now, yes. So I'm waiting to see what happens. I also love the fact that they are definitely like that Neil Flynn is their get for this for this show. That like the most famous out of all of them. I recognize all of them. The woman playing Abby is in the later seasons of Parks and Rec.
Yep.
The barback, her the other bartender
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
She has on. She used to write. She might even still do it. She used to write for Cracked, and so when Cracked was
Oh.
doing a lot of video stuff before they kind of completely canceled all of that. She was
Mhm.
actually part of the cast that was supposed to be rotated into one of their more popular video shows. And then as soon as she got rotated in, Cracked also was like, oh, by the way, we're canceling all of our video stuff and we're not doing
Yeah.
YouTube anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she's getting work. So I recognize her,
I have a
but
I have a
I
question
love
about
Neil Flynn
Cracked.
so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, is Cracked that YouTube video thing where it's the people sitting around a table and they
Yes.
discuss stuff?
Well, I mean, yes,
I
that's
hate
After
that.
Hours. Really? I loved After
Oh,
Hours.
I
I
hate
absolutely
After
loved After
Hours.
Hours. But that was literally the video. Like she was going to be part of the new cast of that.
Oh,
Because the
okay.
last couple of episodes they were like introducing them, and then
Yeah.
Cracked around was like, "Oh, we're not doing YouTube anything anymore," and canceled all of their shows.
Got you.
I
Yeah, no.
loved After
After
Hours.
Hours really bugged me. I don't know why. Hate is a strong word. I don't want to say I hate it, but like there was just something about those four people sitting and doing a freaking that '70s show roundtable, and I'm like, I don't know, I can't do it. Maybe it's because people in college were watching it, and it's just like it was everywhere, and
See,
I
yeah, see,
wasn't getting the same.
I didn't discover it until much later, and like I went back and like watched all of it
Yeah,
in like
no.
one sitting.
I'm like, I
So,
can't. I don't. You guys aren't likable. But anyways, let's not get down that rabbit
uh,
hole. Let's go to a different thing. But
anyway, uh, anyway,
oh,
the other reason I
the woman who drinks Chardonnay was in Zoe 101, and she's also in episodes. So like, it makes me
Beth,
happy to
her
see
name
her.
is Beth. I did
Beth.
catch that one.
Okay, and Frank is Frank from I don't know. He's Malcolm in the Middle. Dad on Malcolm in the Middle.
Dad and Malcolm in the Middle is Bryan Cranston.
Nope. Hold on. He's the dad on something.
On the middle, which is
Middle.
actually what I was about
The
to talk
middle.
about. Which is actually
Yes.
what I was about to talk about. We're gonna talk about this now. So while I'm at work, if I do an opening shift at work, which is 11:45 to 5,
Mhm.
we have Freeform on.
Oh, beautiful.
So here's the thing with Freeform: they've got their original stuff that plays around, 7 and 8 o'clock every night.
Mhm.
When it's not that, they are playing
The middle.
either a Disney movie or Shrek. And I don't mean the Shrek movies. I mean they are playing Shrek 1. Because there's apparently a weird TV rights problem with Shrek 2 and 3 that they can't pretty much they can't play Shrek 2 and 3
What about
on
Forever
TV.
After?
They can play 4, which one has Rumpelstiltskin?
Forever After.
Forever. Yes.
I
So
think.
they can play so
I
that was
think.
on the other day. But like they can only play Shrek 1 or Shrek 4. They are not allowed to play Shrek 2 and 3.
That's
So you
weird.
have so what will happen while stuck at work for hours is I'm watching Freeform and I'm either watching a Disney movie or Shrek, or then another Disney movie. Then Shrek will come on again. But from like 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock every day is a 4 hour run of the middle,
Awesome.
just right there in the middle of the day, 1 o'clock to 5o'clock.
When
It's
else are
the
you
middle.
gonna play it?
So I watch 8 episodes of the middle if I'm sitting at home. If I'm sitting at work in the middle of the day.
That's fantastic.
And oh my god, I like that show. I cannot
I
believe.
do too. There's legit there were times in like school and stuff, or even just at home, like it's just on. Somehow it's on. I don't even know how it gets on. Or like it'll be playing at the doctor's office or something. And it's just like, yeah, this is enjoyable. I like this family. They're kind of annoying, but they're a family still.
Right,
Like I
but
like them. Also, the daughter plays Star in Star versus the Forces of Evil.
oh, does she really?
Yeah,
That's fun.
it's
But I
great.
love that Leo Flynn is so different from who he is on
Yes.
Scrubs in that show, and that
Ugh.
that he got consistent work for all those
Mhm.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing that makes me laugh is that you mentioned that you confused it with Malcolm in the Middle. You want to know why?
Because
It's
the
because they
sun.
use the same. No,
Yeah.
it's because they use the same damn font on the title card.
Oh.
The middle is basically it's like someone took Malcolm in the Middle, it just kept Malcolm in the off the front of it and stuck that on a screen.
Wait, isn't the youngest son also from Malcolm
No,
in the
he
Middle?
just looks like Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle.
What has he
Because
also been? Oh my God. This is.
I don't know because the thing is the kid that played Dewey would be like 20 by the time the middle came
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So
That's so crazy.
that's the other part to
Oh
it is
my
that
God.
show might as well like you could take a couple of the characters from Malcolm in the Middle and stick them in that show. They're
Yeah.
largely interchangeable. But I just because I noticed that the other day when it came on for the fourth time in front of me, and I was like, that's the Malcolm in the Middle font. they just took Malcolm in the off the front of it
That's
and
insane.
stuck in the middle on the screen.
Oh my god.
That's
Oh.
my day. That's my day. I have seen I have seen 10 episodes of that show now in the last 2 weeks, and before that 2 weeks, zero. I
Oh
had
my
seen zero
god.
episodes.
That's amazing. Jeez.
Oh God. Yeah, let me think.
What else have you been
Other than that, I know that Brendan Fraser month is coming up for the Say Report,
Yes. Yep.
so I won't totally step on their toes. But Doom Patrol, if Devin gets the trial or whatever
Yeah.
of DCU to watch that, watch it with him because I need
Oh,
someone
I'm
else to
going
watch the
to.
show.
Oh, I'm definitely going to.
I need someone else to watch the show because I still 10 episodes in now, 9 episodes in now, I still don't know how I feel about it, but I
Mm.
can't stop watching.
Okay.
I'm definitely
All right.
enjoying it, but also I there's let me here's the best way to pitch this. Episode 8 is about it's called first off every episode is called blank patrol, like that's how they're all
Okay.
titled.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a dog episode that is titled Paw Patrol,
Woo!
just so you know.
Oh my god!
So that's the first pitch, but there is an episode called Danny Patrol.
Fantastic.
Danny is a teleporting street that is genderqueer.
Oh.
Don't tell me how that works because I can't figure it out.
Wait.
It is a street
A
that
street.
teleports from place to place that is alive and sentient and genderqueer. And so like people who come to live on the street become are like supposed to be people who don't seem to fit in normal society and
That's so.
have all this place that they're looking for to be home. And like there's like a drag like it's full of drag queens and like gender queer folk and all of this stuff. It's great.
That's
And
kind of
like
really awesome.
when you walk around the street, the way the street talks to you is through like signs that are on the windows
Oh
and
my
stuff.
god.
So like there's entire scenes of this episode where Cyborg is talking to the marquee on on a theater.
Oh my
It's
god.
just him talking to the marquee and these big bold words pointing back at him, having conversation with him.
All right. So if that's what level
That's like
if that's the level that Doom Patrol is at, I'm all in
oh yeah.
because
Oh
that's
yeah.
fantastic to me.
It Doom Patrol is like if like what if the like if you took not quite the Teen Titans, a little bit older than that, but not quite the Justice League, and you took them and they were all like too dysfunctional to actually be a superhero team. They were
That's
too
awesome.
busy fighting with each other and not being able to get their shit together.
So they're
Um,
college students.
kind of. I mean, the thing is though, the other thing that's going on in the show is a thing they never mentioned. I don't think they ever will. The five main characters of this show all come from different time periods, basically.
Yeah.
There's an actress from the 50s, fighter pilot from the 60s, a robot man who is Brendan Fraser. He was a NASCAR driver in the 80s.
Okay.
There's this girl. Do you know who Diane Guerrero is? You do. You might not realize it.
Oh.
She was on. I know you haven't seen Orange Is the New Black. What was the other show she was on that you have seen? Because I looked it up earlier. Oh crap. Um. Oh God, me. What am I doing? Anyway, her
Oh
character.
god, me.
I'll look it up. I'm looking it up as I do this. But her character is like from the 70s.
Mhm.
Like their ages. Like they talk about how they all came to live in this mansion, this like rundown mansion that they all are living in at different time periods, and none of them have aged. Like Diane Guerrero's character should be like 70, and she's 21. She just
Oh
is,
wow.
and they just never bother talking about it. They're just like, oh yeah, Jane came to live at the mansion in the 70s. Don't question the fact that she's still 21 and it's 2019 because it's very clearly definitely 2019 in the show. They just don't bother explaining it. They kind of just let you go, oh, okay, I get it. So like superpowers made
Future
them
time
ageless and
stuff.
immortal, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. Um, oh, it was a show you talked to me about too. This is bothering me that I don't remember. Oh, Superior Donuts.
Oh.
She is Sophia. Oh, yeah, Sophia
Oh.
Superior Donuts. That is
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So she's playing a character called Crazy Jane. Crazy Jane has 64 personalities, and each one has their own superpowers. So
Fantastic.
depending on which one is in charge, changes what power she has.
Okay, that's cool.
Um,
That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
down. I'm down for Doom
It's
Patrol.
so good. It's so good. And it's just like what if you just took like five of the most dysfunctional people, gave them superpowers, and also they just don't like each other very much and forced them to live together.
I love it. I'm
Oh
down.
man.
I'm
Yeah.
down.
I'm having such a weird time with it because like it does some of the dumbest stuff and it's doing some really good storytelling and also like I can't wrap my head around the fact that it's DC and this is supposed to be in the same universe as like Batman and Superman and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's what I have been doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I beat the messenger.
You did beat the
Um,
messenger.
I beat the messenger, and I finally beat it because I got a controller that actually works. I will
Nice.
defend the Switch for days and years. The second I got a good controller for that, I realized how dumb I was for defending the controllers on the Switch forever. I will, however, complain that the Nintendo branded $25 wired controller does not vibrate and does not have any of the motion stuff in it. So when I went back to play, I booted up Breath of the Wild again because of course I did.
Yeah.
And I can't do any of the motion controlled puzzles in that game with the controller.
Oh, no.
So I had to like
That
take it
sucks.
out of the dock and do stuff. Yeah, it's the weirdest. Nintendo's
Yeah.
weird. They're a pain. They're a pain.
Damn.
That's all I'll say about that.
See, I've
But
been
the
playing.
messenger was fun.
I've been playing Messenger on the PS4 and like usually falling asleep during it. I really like it, but like I said, I got to the little stone emerald golem guy. So there have been the past like couple of weeks I've been playing while CJ and Devin record their episode for the week, and so far every time it's like been 2 or 3 times I have fallen asleep in the background of their episode. And Devin, like, I'll wake up and the messenger will be paused because I pause it when I start to feel sleepy. And Devin, like, the first night, he goes, "You fell asleep, didn't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" He goes, "I could hear you, like, slowly breathing." And there was no other sound coming from the other side of the room. And I go, "Yeah, I was out. I was out." And then this week they were recording, and he goes, "Yeah, I knew you were asleep because I turned around, saw that the messenger was paused, and was like, she's just taking a break. That's fine." And then like 10 minutes went by, and I turned around again, and it was still paused, and you were knocked out. And I go, "Yeah, I don't know why, but I don't know if it makes me sleepy or if it's just because I'm
It's the brain process. It's the brain
at the
processing
time."
required to remember everything that you're supposed to be doing in 1 second of that game. I, I don't
It's
know
fun.
how
It is a fun game, but
I got through that whole game and there were still times where I forgot some of the button presses because
yeah.
like you have you have somehow a limited set of tools and yet I can't remember that I have any of them. I would go through sections and sections of that game and go, "Oh shit, I have shuriken I can throw."
Yep.
Or like, "Why am I having such a hard time getting to this room? Oh crap, grappling hook.
Yeah.
Why did I forget I had a grappling hook button?" Why?
So good. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll probably beat that game in another year. So
Just in time for the DLC to come out.
exactly. Oh
Uh,
man.
but
Yeah.
anyway, that's been my week.
Nice.
All sorts of things kind of mixed in there.
Nice.
But you saw three
I did
movies.
see 3 movies.
So I'm trying to think of where to start here.
So,
What is Beach Bum? What am Beach Bum? Because I don't know
okay.
anything about it. The only thing I know is there's a poster, and uh, Matthew McConaughey is there, and like of course because Beach Bum. And then I see Zac Efron, and I wonder what the hell's going on with his hair, and I don't know what's going on in this movie.
Okay, so it's funny that we're gonna start with Beach Bum. Um, so Beach Bum, I don't. You're gonna have to. I really don't want to steal Devin's joke about Beach Bum. So I'm gonna let you ask him his joke about Beach Bum. I'm gonna let him do it. It is all his, and I'm not gonna talk about it. So I'm sorry, but Beach Bum is it's basically a guy. He writes poems. He's a writer, and He's pretty much
Wait.
just
What do you say writes poems? Do you mean he's a poet, or do you mean he's one of those guys that sits on the corner and he's like, "Give me a word and $5, and I'll
he's a
write you a
poet.
poem"?
He's a
Oh, okay.
poet. He's a writer. Like yeah, I guess he's a poet. Yeah, yeah. We'll just say he's a poet. He writes poems. He's a poet. They're weird poems, like about his penis, but they're
That's
poems
not. I've
nonetheless.
I had to read
Um,
poetry in college. That is not weird for poems.
True. You're not wrong. I've had to hear some weird ones too. Anyway, so he's a poet,
uh,
and he has a bunch of books and all of that, and he pretty much goes the whole movie is that it's him writing his final novel, pretty much, or just writing his next novel, or and someone's like, it's not a novel, it's a book of poems. You just need to write it. So it's pretty much all of that, and kind of seeing how his experiences help him do that and get him to where he needs to go. It's a movie that I can't really talk too much about, like, if you haven't seen it. You know what I mean? Because I can't tell you certain things because it'll just take away what the whole story is. Because it's not told really linear. It's very slice of life situation.
did he fall? Did Matthew McConaughey fall into some sort of devil's trap where they were like, "You're gonna make Serenity, and it's gonna be about a town on an island, and it's gonna be kind of weird, and then you're gonna make a beach bum, and it's gonna sound like your kind of movie, but also you're gonna be just like
High and drunk the whole time.
high and general time."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna
Um
experience movies very in like the right order
yeah.
this year, Matthew. You're just
So
not.
so the thing that I was saying when after we saw it was between the two movies that are about, beach guys and like, island, the island character, right? Um the boating, island life character. Between the two movies, Serenity is the better movie.
That is
Um
because of what I know about Serenity and the way I've heard other people talk about it, that makes me like, what? How is it better than? I don't understand. It's not. How did you do that, Matthew McConaughey? How did you make a movie that made someone go, you know what? Serenity was the better movie.
it's because of how they're told too. It is just a more they're both told in ways where you don't know what the hell is going on. Um but two different meanings of that. Like Serenity is all about you don't know what the hell is going on because Matthew McConaughey starts to not know what the hell is going on. And it makes you, feel like I don't know. I think I know what's going on, but I'm going to be wrong in 2 seconds.
Right, trying to figure out what is
Okay,
going on is part of the point of
cool.
watching that
Yes.
movie and
You
experiencing that story.
and it
Yeah.
keeps you engaged. Whereas Beach Bum, you don't know what's going on because it makes you feel high. Or like it makes you feel disjointed and like it just makes you feel weird and it does kind of give you a pseudo like, am I fucking imagine what is this real? Is this really happening in front of me? Am I hallucinating right now? Um did that just really happen? It really does put you in that mindset. Which is cool. That is cool movie making, and that is a really good and interesting thing that someone is able to accomplish, and I appreciate it. Beach Bum is one of those movies that has been happening it's in that group of movies that have been happening a lot this year where I liked it, and I think Devin is on the same page with me here. I liked it more as I discussed it, as I talked about it, because it was time to like kind of let everything sink in. But while I was watching the movie, I was like, I don't know if I like this, and I'm kind of sad that I don't like it because it's doing a lot of really cool things but I don't I don't get what's going on. I get what's going on, but it's just like I don't know how I feel. I don't like how I am feeling right now. Cuz I'm just sitting here like what the hell is happening? Is any of this real? I was waiting for the moment of it to be like, and ding ding ding, you're awake now.
He's been passed out on the beach this whole time,
Yeah, something like
drowning in
that.
his own
Something
filth.
like that.
Like,
It was really cool. But they are Serenity and Beach Bum. You kind of have to, you know, talk about them together because they are two similar characters in a way. They both love the island life, the boating life, the fishing life, that whole thing. They both drink. Matthew McConaughey in Serenity drinks and is I think an alcoholic. I think you could say he's an alcoholic. Um and Beach Bum, he's drunk and high all the time. That's how he lives his life. And he's like, I just want to have a good time. That is why I'm here. And it's like, okay, cool. Similar that way. Similar in that you guys kind of both have demons, but you're handling it in different ways. And yeah, you need to see both of them. They're two movies that need to be seen if you are a fan of Matthew McConaughey and of cinema.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. At
Like,
the same time, this also sounds like it would be right up there with like Swiss Army Man levels of weirdness.
yeah, I'm sure.
Um,
Because I still haven't seen that,
Oh,
but I'm
oh
sure it
God,
would.
talk about a movie that goes some places.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But did you ever hear the theory? I don't think it's even a theory anymore, but the theory that Adam Sandler sometimes makes movies just so he can go on vacation to places.
I have
So
heard that,
like,
yes.
right. So this almost feels like like Matthew McConaughey was on vacation on an island somewhere and was like, I really need some more money for drinks. What if I just went down to the beach and made a couple of movies? I bet you guys back down here around 5.
Oh man, I don't know. They're really interesting, and I am happy that I can say yeah, Beach Bum. I actually enjoyed it after thinking about it because I was gonna be really sad if I didn't enjoy that movie because I was really really excited to see it based on the poster. And because it's like this cast is, I love everybody in this movie, and because they all make me very happy whenever I see them in a film, and just not being happy with those actors was gonna be really
Oh
sad
my
for
God.
me.
It also just occurred to me. I want to see who made this movie now because Matthew McConaughey and Zac Efron were in Paperboy at some point together too.
They were. I want to see that movie so bad.
Another one that I have heard nothing but weird things about.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
But yeah, Beach Bum. I people should see it.
Oh,
If you can see it, see it. Take the opportunity and just sit down and watch it. It's a tight movie. Like I said, it feels really weird to watch, but it is a quick and tight movie. And yeah, I can't I can't wait to actually have a conversation where I can talk about it with you on air, on air, on
on air.
recording,
Yep.
or
Nope,
even
we're
in
on air
person,
now.
But it's yeah, I'm happy I saw it, and I'm happy that we discussed it.
Good. Very good.
And then the other two movies I saw were Missing Link,
Back back to back.
back to back. Yes, it was a double feature of Missing Link and Hellboy.
There's gonna be
And
somewhere to talk about that. Let me think. Hold on. Two creatures, the
oh, and
only
they
ones of their
link.
kind,
They
brought
link.
together in the world of man. I got nothing. Anyway,
No. There was a moment during Hellboy where it was like another weird double feature that really worked.
this is just missing
Um,
link, but there's fire. I don't know.
yeah. Well, no, because it's they both have a lot to do with the hunt, quote unquote, the hunt. you know,
As in like the British hunt, the hunt,
yes.
as
Like
in foxes and hounds,
as
the
in
hunt.
we're gonna send out this animal. Let us all get on our horses and hunt down the animal together and then drink beer. Men. Like That kind of hunt.
Great, because as someone who just watched the Thor movies,
Yeah, exactly. So
uh,
the hunt and the thrill of the hunt. So, yeah. And so Missing Link is what we started with. And I didn't really see trailers for it. I might have saw one, and I was excited because it's Leica, and I
did one
love
set? I feel like one
Leicas.
played before Shazam, but we all kind of collectively wiped Shazam from our memories. As per our conversation on Discord earlier, where I couldn't remember jack all about the movie.
It was great.
So like
But
it
yeah,
does feel like very much like I like what I like about Leica films is there always seems to be more depth to them than like the kind of base level thing that's going on. Like every single Leica film usually gets deeper, and Missing Link, by the sounds of it, and from what it looked like in the trailers, is a fairly basic story.
oh
It doesn't sound like
yes, that's
doesn't sound
the
like there's
issue
much
with it.
deeper going on. Like I could tell you the themes and morals of that story from the trailer
Yeah,
immediately. Paranorman goes some places,
uh-huh.
and I love it.
Coraline goes some places. Box Trolls go, and Kubo. Like you're not wrong. You are 100% right, and that is Missing Link's problem. Is that it is very baseline storytelling, and like, yeah, what you see is what you get, and it's boring. And it's
That
like, okay,
bums me out.
this makes me really sad. And I kept making jokes in my, if I hadn't seen Smallfoot, I think Missing Link would have been intolerable. Because it was just, there was nothing to grab onto. I loved the Missing Link, Susan, which is what he calls himself. Zach Galifianakis plays Susan, and I loved him, loved him. He was thankfully the best part of the movie, but without having the knowledge of Smallfoot in my head, where I could make jokes of, hey, they're going to. I mean, it's in the trailer. They're going to the Yeti area. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Like Devin and I were making jokes about Smallfoot because during the movie.
they just Kingdom Hearts style walk into
Yeah,
Smallfoot
pretty
and
much.
just
Like
like
it just felt like we were watching the other side of Smallfoot. It was funny, but the thing about Missing Link is that every time I thought it was about to go deeper or have more like depth and like more character development and backstory and subtext, it just continued moving. And the best example of this is Hugh Jackman's character. I'm gonna spoil Missing Link.
go ahead.
I
I'm
don't
not.
think
Yeah,
I know you don't care, and I can't not with this discussion. Hugh Jackman's character, is basically, he's like, I just want to get into this gentleman's club of hunters, of adventurers, pretty much. And my only motivation for this is because they told me I couldn't be in it. That's it. No other deeper motivation. No, like, I need to prove myself to someone else. Blah, 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 blah. I, in my insane storytelling brain, started giving him other character things that were not there.
sure. I probably would have
Um,
done the same thing.
there were, and this is very much a period piece in that it takes place in, like, I don't even know when, but it's a old timey period
Right,
piece.
a time period
Yes.
in which getting on a train and going into a mountain and hunting a mythical creature would be like
Yes.
fairly understandable for like someone who's like rich and bored.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So there's also the character, I can't think of Adelina. I think her name is Adelina, who
Gamora, yes,
huh?
Gamora.
Huh?
It's Zoe Saldana,
Yes,
so
it's
Gamora.
Gamora. So so Adelina and Frost, right, who is Hugh Jackman, they have a past together, right? So they dated. But then Adelina married Frost's, like, friend, best friend. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you if it was his best friend, his colleague, his friend. I don't know. But she marries
Ex-boyfriend.
him.
Sounds like an ex-boyfriend to
Yeah,
me. Sounds like that would make this story way more interesting.
maybe. Yeah,
Sounds
right? Okay. So
like-
so Adelina marries this guy who was something to Frost. And then that guy dies. Now, every time,
Which means that there's like no okay.
yeah. So then I'm like, "Oh, Frost killed him. Frost killed him." And like, I good on you, Leica, for making your hero also a bad guy. Because that can happen. That can happen in stories, and it can still be a good story. But no, he just really liked Adelina. So
And like
that's why,
by having her husband dead, there's
yeah,
no like conflicting motivation at all.
no,
Because guess what? You can marry a widow.
yeah,
You can date a
yeah,
widow.
and they do, and they start to
Oh,
rekindle their love for each other. So I'm like, gross. I don't like this. This makes me really uncomfortable. And like Devin brings up the fact that because the way I was getting the reason why I was getting this feeling that he killed Aldous, which was her husband, is that anytime she would bring him up or anytime she brought up the funeral that Frost did not go to, he would like make a twitch. Like they would his face would twitch in a way, which like beautiful. Leica, you know how to make animated movies, animated film, and you're beautiful. I love you so much. Even if I didn't enjoy Missing Link, I enjoyed watching Missing
I mean,
Link.
one and also
Um,
one dropped ball out of what, five movies we mentioned?
exactly, exactly.
Like
So it's just he had like these little twitches that made me think there was more there. But Devin did bring up the fact of, well, she married his friend, like, and his friend started dating the woman that he loved. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't even think of that. But yes, he deserves to be a little upset because that's upsetting, you know? So I'm
but
like,
like it's
okay, cool.
only a conflict if they make it a conflict though. If they're not doing enough to actually push that
Yeah,
feeling, like you
yeah,
can't let that
yeah, no,
simmer underneath and then never
yeah,
talk about it because
yeah.
that's not creating
Mm-hmm,
conflict. That's
mm-hmm.
creating an annoying thing that gets you to focus on the wrong thing during the
Yeah.
movie.
The other piece of background and storytelling that I completely made up based on little words that literally meant nothing was I went half of the movie thinking that one of the big reveals was that Frost was going to be gay. And the reason why he was like so dedicated, because it's in a time period where if you came out as gay, you were either killed or like imprisoned or, you know, hurt, and like it was not a time where you could be open and free about who you were. So I thought his whole motivation and like his whole reasoning for kind of being sleazy towards Adelina and for trying to get into this men's group was to feel included and to um feel like a quote unquote like feel like a man, because he's like, I can't be who I am, I need to fit in some other way. And I thought what it was going to be is that no, because it even though this time period exists and it's people couldn't be who they were, it's a movie, it is a fiction movie, you can make the story what you want. So what I thought the resolution was going to be is that you now have a group of you now have a family of your own where you can be yourself because you're hanging out with a Sasquatch who is going to be himself. He is not going to hide who he is. He is not going to try and fit in somewhere where he does not fit. He is going to live his life the way he lives his life, and you can do that too. And that's what I thought the story was going to be. And no. He's just a sleazeball when it comes to Adelina. And I'm like that, I don't know. It would have been a better, I feel like it would have been a better story, and also a good story for kids to be like, you can be yourself even if everybody is telling you no. It's okay because you're going to find people who are going to accept you. And No, that did not. There was like there was nothing. There was nothing like that in Missing Link,
Yeah, that's
and it
such a
made me
bummer
really
because
upset.
yeah, it's such a bummer because Leica usually does these deeper stories, and it kind of sounds like what they did with this was their like they've never had huge financial success. Like they
Yeah.
came out fairly strong with Coraline from what I remember, but like they have never been able to kind of reach that again.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel like maybe this time they were like, let's do as basic a story as we like the most mainstream basic
Mhm.
story we can, and try and do, and it still didn't work for them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they came in with less money than I think they beat Hellboy, but they definitely didn't get past Shazam this weekend.
No. But
Uh,
and there was a moment where Adelina, like, I really hope that's her name. I'm gonna really feel bad if it was if that's not her name. But there's a moment where Adelina and Frost get pushed together because they're on a ship together and it's rocky. They get pushed together, and she says something along the lines of, "You need to like be honest with yourself," or something like that, and you need to actually like act upon who you are as a person. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be where like he reveals that he's gay. Like, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna cry. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna be very happy because thank you, Leica, for tackling this and doing something about this. And no, he just then went and talked to the Sasquatch Susan about, hey, yeah, I'm gonna get you to your home. I'm a creep. I'm a creep towards women. I'm like,
bummer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It just made me sad.
Well, then, let's move on from that because I think you had a much more positive
I
experience
did.
with,
Hellboy,
yeah.
fantastic.
I'm so happy to hear that. I
Mhm.
don't, again, we don't need to ever talk about Rotten Tomatoes again on this
No,
show, but
no.
oh my God, like I cannot believe
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes
Mhm.
just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I am not surprised at like some of the critical reaction it got.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone at work, funny enough, about this recently, and like kind of talking about why it didn't seem to do better. Because I'll give you like this is the most anecdotal, non-real answer, obviously, because the money it like goes completely against this. But it seemed busier at the theater the night Hellboy came out.
Mhm.
I'll tell you that much than it
Yeah.
did when Shazam came
I'm
out.
sure. Because Hellboy, it's gonna get the people who like Hellboy, like the character of Hellboy, who like superhero movies, and who like horror movies, let's be honest, and who just want to have a good time. It's gonna get a lot of people to go see this movie. So, yeah, whereas Shazam, it's like, yep, we're gonna get the people who like Zachary Levi and like DC.
And yet, unfortunately,
It
Hellboy made
wasn't
$12 million.
Yeah.
But money aside, I don't really care about that. But Hellboy has and has always been kind of a niche comic and like a niche fan base. So
Yeah.
like that's not surprising. And I think there was probably still some animosity with people that they were doing a Hellboy movie without Guillermo del Toro,
Yeah.
which just I'm sorry, it happens, guys, but don't worry about it. Hellboy has always been a series that did not have like a huge overarching story to it. Like it had its runs, but it does it does all sorts of short stories and stuff. So you could
Yeah.
have a Hellboy movie that is just a short story.
Yeah. But no,
Uh,
it was so much fun. And it it had like this crazy King Arthur storyline, and it just checks a lot of boxes for me. And it was just the right amount of fantasy violence and like grotesqueness, and like it opens up and I thought I was watching a Frank Miller, like I thought I was watching Sin City, because it has color isolation, it has the beautiful like terrible blood effects that
oh
I
God.
love, that are so prevalent in Sin City, that I just love. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then it just goes on from there. Of just this is such an insane ride, and I'm having so much fun. And it was just the better I'm gonna find myself story. I'm gonna find who I truly am, which that's also how Missing Link and Hellboy were connected, is that they both at their baseline is you need to find out who you are, and some people, in order to find who they are, they need to go on these crazy insane journeys or quests, and Hellboy handled it so much better than Missing Link. And that's crazy to me.
All it took was David Harbour getting so beefed up.
Oh God! But it did, and
Painted
and
red.
it had those character backstories and that character development that was lacking in Missing Link. I didn't have to make up better story plots for Hellboy than in Missing Link to keep
Mia Jovovich like a witch of some kind. Why do you need anything more than Mia Jovovich as a bad guy, first of all?
No. But the fact that I had to make up story to make Missing Link enjoyable for myself, you've lost. You've lost. Oh, man. But yeah, no, Hellboy was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and I want to try and get to it this week because I've been hearing like that's the nice thing is that like everybody who I've heard saw it has enjoyed it. I've seen a few reviews that were in the other direction, but everybody I like have talked to about it has seemed to have had a lot of fun with it. It's like that's all I need from that.
And I'm sure we'll go, because I'm sure you're gonna see it at some point this week, and I'm sure we'll go deeper into it next week. But because there's some stuff that I want to get into, but it's gonna take some talking. So
cool.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was my week.
Excellent. Well, we started recording late today.
We did.
And we have been going for over an hour, which I think means it's time to wrap it up.
Yep.
So I can go play. I also got Sekiro from Devin,
Yep.
so I'm trying that out. We'll see how that works because like I'm not a huge Dark Souls fan. I kind of liked Bloodborne enough, but like I don't know why I thought I was going to be the one to come into this thing and be like, yeah, no, I'll like it. Don't worry about it. That's how I trick myself with every Dark Souls and From Software game. Everyone that comes out. And like that too, because there's like a sci-fi. There's ones from like other companies that have tried to copy them.
Yeah.
Like Neo and The Surge, both games that I've bought and played for like 2 hours and gone. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself because I just don't like this.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Devin was like, "Well, don't waste the money this time. Just borrow my copy of Sekiro."
Good. Yeah.
So hopefully by next week I'll have more to say on that too.
Jeez. But yes, be on the lookout. Like we said in the beginning of the episode, be on the lookout. Friday we are going to be streaming. It's the Say Report family streaming. It's gonna be our first like family stream, I think. Right? We haven't streamed. Yeah, it's gonna be our first family stream.
Yeah, no, because Sijin wasn't with us for Kingdom Hearts. Well, he was there in the comments yelling about Simba a lot, but you know.
Yeah, so it's gonna be the first Say Report family stream. It's gonna be insane.
At twitch.tv/the Say Report, all one word, all lowercase, all that. It will also be theoretically auto-hosting on my channel,
and mine.
Which is still Gaming Story Zack, even though I don't run that blog anymore or Twitch or use Twitch very often, but that still exists.
And once I set it up, it'll be auto-hosting on my page, which is Sharkatar. And it will be auto-hosting on Devin's page, which is Fox Zero, and it'll be auto-hosting, hopefully, on Siege's page, which is Siege versus the World.
Is it? I didn't actually know he had it. I didn't know he had a Twitch page set up.
Assuming...
We assume that he has a Twitch page called Siege versus the World.
If that's not your Twitter page, your Twitch page, you should correct us.
What I love about that is that we assume his will be the same like name that he has everywhere else, and mine is not. My Twitch page is not under Zerwhisky, so I don't know why we would just assume Siege had it under.
I'm also basing it off of like his comments on the Kingdom Hearts stream, which was from Siege versus the World.
Oh, that's right. He would have had to have an account for that. Yeah. Okay, you're smarter than me. There we go. Forgot about all of that. Oh.
You brought it up.
No, I mean I forgot. Like, yeah.
That he was commenting with.
No, I like that he would be. No, like I didn't like connect in my head that if he's commenting on Twitch, obviously that means he has an account with Twitch.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh God.
But yes, be on the lookout for that. We'll be tweeting about it. Follow us on Twitter at sayreportjr. Follow us on YouTube, sayreportjr. And follow us individually on Twitch. On Twitter. God, there's too many T words.
Oh, good thing Tumblr's not around anymore. I mean, it's around,
God.
but nobody wants it anymore.
Nobody wants it. But I am at Dale's Brain.
And I am at Zerwhiskey.
Woohoo! Ow!
You okay over there?
I just stepped on the headphone cable.
Oh,
Let's go get ice cream. I need it.
We're done. We're done. Take it away, Liz.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts, Dayle Decker and Zack. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report. And you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.